Hey there, BMW friends. This is part 2 of me fixing some rusty spots in the trunk area of my E36 M3. A couple of extra areas that I found that I didn't talk about last time, but I wanted to show you how things turned out and talk about whether or not I'm satisfied and show you what I've done. So here we go. I don't think I talked about this last time, but this area here, of course this is underneath the car, and these are fuel lines in the trunk area. This spot right here, and then there are a couple of other very minor places that had light rust. So what I did was I taped it off, applied POR-15, all three steps, and then I painted it with primer. So anyway, I'm pretty satisfied with the way this turned out. So then there's this area here where there was some rust around these two spots. Treated it with POR-15, sprayed it with a primer and then the correct color of paint. And then over in this area, talked about it last time, how the car I think had been hit lightly in the back end. You can see it's kind of buckled there. And some paint had kind of chipped off and it's starting to rust in there. So I treated that with POR-15. You can see that, move that. See that the battery tray has been finished off with paint. And then all in here, as I showed you last time, there were bits of rust. So initially what happened was I found a couple of very tiny bits of rust in here, started kind of chipping away or grinding away at some of the paint along here, and I found that underneath the paint there had been some rust. So I think this had been painted over at some point. I don't think the camera picks it up very well, but the backside got treated as well. So I treated all this with POR-15. Now, then something happened where, so this area right here got treated with POR-15. Some of it started to drip down here a little bit. So I actually pulled off the tail light assembly. And then I found this area right in here where the inside corner of the taillight assembly had actually rubbed some paint off and was starting just a tiny bit of rust there. And then you can see on the other side as well, tiny bit of rust had formed right here. Then I think there are like one or two little tiny places underneath that I can't point out very well right now. But then something else I wanted to show you. I had masked off with tape, I guess to about that point all across here. Then when I lifted the tape back, up, what I found was that some of the clear peeled off. And I've noticed there are a couple other places where the clear just didn't seem quite right. I don't know if you can see right here, but there's a line where it looks like there's the edge of the clear. And I don't think that doesn't look factory to me. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But it seemed like the clear was a little bit more fragile than it should have been. To me, that's maybe more evidence that it had been painted back here at some point. I would say that I'm satisfied with the rust treatment, but in terms of the actual finish, the condition that it's in right now, I'm not really very satisfied with that. That might take a professional to deal with that fully. That's probably beyond my skill level at this point. One other thing I did, I had talked last time about how the wiring harness, you can see original there, and this is more tightly wound than most of it was before. But it was loosely wound and it had gotten kind of gummy, so I rewound it. But last time, I wasn't really satisfied with the job that I did, so this was all redone with Tessa tape. I'll have a link in the description. But I redid all the wrapping on this wiring harness here. So you can see here on this taillight assembly, and I think I can still see just a little bit of rust there where the corner was digging in. I already ground some of this back with a Dremel. It looks like I might need to grind a little bit more, because to me, that's an indication of where it was rubbing. So I probably need to grind that back a little bit more, both on this taillight assembly and on the other. So once I get that done, then all I have to do is put the battery in the car and then take this pile of parts and put them back in the car and then get on the road and have a lot of fun driving this E36 M3. So anyway, hopefully you find that helpful. I've got some other stuff coming up. Recently, I found when I replaced my brake rotors last time, I noticed that the connector between that goes from the car to the brake pad sensor, that crumbled. And so I'm replacing that connector, and I'm going to have a video on that, so stay tuned for that. But anyway, in the meantime, drive safe, have a lot of fun, and have a great day.